I would challenge anyone to prove to me that selling a course isn't the highest paying part-time job in the world. In 2016, I stumbled upon this incredible opportunity by accident. I was just creating videos based on what I was learning selling at Amazon. And then I noticed people started asking me to coach them and they wanted to pay me for it. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to turn this into a full-blown course. Now, that was 2016 when I started coaching people. The next year, I did 1.5 million in course sales. The next year, 2 million. The next year, 2.8 million, followed by 3.9 million the next year. I share this because this can be you too. No matter what your life experience is, I guarantee that you know something on a specific topic that at least 100 people would pay you to know. And if you sold your training for $10,000, you just made your first 1 million. So today, I give you 10 proofs that selling a course is the highest paying part-time job in the world. And I want you to know that each example I give you comes from my own personal experience. This is not just theory, it actually works. Proof number 1, you can build your course while you run a full-time business or work a full-time job. Guys in my cohort need on average 10 hours max a week. Sometimes it's only 5. But that's only for the first few weeks. Then the time that they need to spend building goes down because once you launch your course, you don't have to keep remaking the course. The time you need to spend goes down, but your income does not. Now, you might ask, well, Seth, how can this take such little time? Well, think about it. You are taking something you already know a lot about and simply getting it into a digital format. You're not going out and learning a whole new craft. You're monetizing knowledge in a skill that you've already been cultivating for years. This is why I've yet to meet a single man of faith who didn't have a skill people would not pay good money to learn. Proof number 2, that course selling is the highest part-time or the highest paying part-time job in the world. Build it once, but sell it many times. In most businesses, you need to keep remanufacturing or debugging your product. But courses don't have bugs, nor do customers eat courses. Build your course once and then sell it over and over again. Yes, the upfront work is a heavier lift, but once you finish that, all you need to do is tweak your course over time to improve it. Look, I'm going to show you something. Imagine that I gave you 3 different products you could sell. Here we go. First of all, a banana. Second, a lamp. And third, a full-blown course. Now, you have these 3 options. Which one would need to be reproduced? Would the banana need to be reproduced? Yes, because consumers are going to eat it. Okay. Will the lamp need to be reproduced? Yes, because consumers are going to break it. Will the course need to be reproduced? No, because consumers don't eat courses and they can't break courses. And that brings me to proof number 3. Get paid every month. Now, you might be thinking, Seth, once someone buys the course, I have to go out and find another customer in order to keep making money. First, even if that was true and all you did was sell a $10,000 course to 100 people, how would you feel about making $1 million? But it's better than that. All your customers are in the same online community, and that's where you can provide monthly meetings with members of the community, as well as answering questions and providing support. This means that in addition to them buying your course, you charge a small monthly fee. Your work is not for free. Not only is this fair to you, but that's called residual income. It's consistent and it's regular. Let me put it this way. Let's just say that 250 people buy your course for $5,000 each, okay? $5,000 course, 250 people buy it. You just made $1,250,000. Now let's say that you charge $39 a month per member. That's $9,750 of monthly income. So you get a chunk of cash up front, which is great, but then ongoing income because you continue to provide value. And let me tell you something. If the course you are teaching, the information you are giving them literally helps them to succeed, whatever they're trying to do, they will continue to pay you because they see the value. And that brings me to proof number 4. Low COGS, which is cost of goods sold, and no overhead. Now, COGS, as I said, means cost of goods sold. If you sell products on Amazon, you have to purchase these products before you sell them. And you're easily going to spend up to 10 grand just to get your first batch of products. And that's before you've made any money. Now, you have to sell them if you want to see a profit. Let me tell you, I know this because I've done it many times and I had to fail a lot in order to succeed. If you don't sell those products, you're stuck with dead inventory. But with a course, there are no cogs because the goods to be sold is the knowledge in your brain. Your cost for your brain goods is the years and years of cultivating the skill you have honed. Overhead, I explained cogs. Now what about overhead? Overhead means monthly expenses, things like your office lease payments, salaries to employees, accounting fees, maintenance, software, office supplies, and a ton more. When you run a course business, you need almost none of that. On average, most brick and mortar businesses today require $250,000 of upfront capital just to launch. And typically it will take them 1 to 2 years before they turn that into a profit. Did you hear that? $250,000 you pay up front and you wait 1 year to 2 before making a profit. So what are the approximate costs for creating and selling a course? Let me show you. Now, just to be clear, this is an estimate. This is what we teach the men in our cohort. This is not like written in gold. It could be a little more, a little less, depending on what you're trying to do. First of all, LLC. If you're going to open an LLC and use a third party to do it for you, that's around $450 upfront one-time fee. We recommend a high quality USB mic, $79, a high quality webcam, $150. By the way, you do not need a highly professional camera in order to produce videos for your course. The idea that, oh man, Seth, it's 2025, we have to have the best. Big fat mistake. You could have the most polished video in the world and no one will watch your video because you're not creating value. It's important that you create value. You might be surprised at how basic the camera is right now that I'm filming this on. And when I started with my own course, I had a terrible camera on my MacBook. It was absolutely fuzzy, but it didn't matter. People were getting value, and so they signed up. So don't overthink things you don't need to overthink. Don't spend money that could be used for better stuff in the future. Key light dome and stand, $150. What that means is you need a stand light dome that creates a nice full light, makes my face look a little more nice and less wrinkly, which is right here. And then a key light, you can see it behind me, or one, sometimes it could be one over here, and it just balances out so there's not a bunch of shadows. Those are the basic things you need for filming. That right there is $829 up front. A lot better than $250,000 for a brick and mortar. Now, what are monthly costs? Well, let's just go to the bottom. On average, $393. School, you would need 2 communities, which I explain in other trainings. You pay for school, obviously. That's the community where your course sits, and that's a monthly fee. Perspective is for building your landing page. Busy is a virtual mailbox and registered agent. That's specifically for your LLC. Zapier automates a lot of stuff for you, $30 a month, super low cost. Zoom for your video meetings, if you're going to have any. ActiveCampaign, that's marketing automation for sending out emails. Annual LLC fees, again, that's your LLC. Google Workspace, so you have a place to store everything. And of course, your domain billed annually, which is typically $1. So you get and it's typically $1 a month. So here what we're talking about is about $800 up front, $393 per month. Now, how many times do I need to sell a $10,000 course to pay for that? A very tiny percentage of one, which should not be a problem. And so let's move on to proof number 5. Proof number 5, no college degree hours or bills needed. This is so powerful, it's almost invisible. When I was a child, people expected you to go to college. Like, that is if you were serious about being a success and if you're ambitious. And for the next 25 years of your life, you end up paying off a school debt, working a job that has nothing to do with the degree that you got at that school. But when you sell a course, no college degree is required, nor do you need to spend years in school before you're ready to launch. You start now. You can start today because people aren't looking for your college education. No one cares. They want your expertise. Which brings me to proof number 6. You do not need to be a marketing expert. This one is specific to my clients and craftsmen. Not all coaches could say this, but there's a method I use. I show them in my cohort how to set up an evergreen reward funnel that runs for them. They focus on creating content they love that attracts prospects into the funnel. So they're never chasing prospects. It attracts them. And then the funnel literally does the rest of the work. This is what I teach them in my cohort specifically. So you do not need a marketing background to do this. Will you learn new stuff? Of course. Are you going to learn over time and get better? Absolutely. But to get started and start making money, you do not need a marketing background. Which brings me to proof number 7. You have no shipping costs. You never have to ship anything to your clients. No inventory costs, no shipping costs, no physical overhead. Proof number 8, profit margins can be 50 to 95%. Because you have no cost of inventory in shipping, margins on a course are incredibly high. Now, you're probably thinking, Seth, why is there such a big range on there? Well, multiple things. First of all, everyone's monthly overhead is going to be different. I just gave you an average. But second, it depends on how you do marketing. If you do start running ads, of course your margins are going to go down. But that also can get you more volume and you end up making more money long-term. So there's an advantage to doing that. The method we are teaching currently does not require any of that knowledge. That way you can start making money right away. Proof number 9. Once built, it can churn into passive income. Now look, I know a lot of people throw this phrase around on the internet, passive income, and it sounds so great. And always someone's going to say, well, no income is passive because you have to work for it. There's truth to that. You have to work. You have to build the course. You have to set up your funnel. You actually have to start doing the work to get the people so that you can start making money and helping them. But once your funnel is set up, people can go online and buy your course while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation. You go to bed and wake up wealthier. That is a pretty awesome deal because it's set up to run for you. You don't have to be up and around doing something for them to buy it. Proof number 10, unmatched scalability. If you've ever run a business, you will especially appreciate this one, or if you've worked in operations. If all you're selling is a course with no one-to-one coaching, then it does not matter if you sell 10 or 10,000 copies of your course. Your workload does not go up. Now, you might be thinking, well, Seth, do you do one-to-ones? Well, I do offer those, and I charge a lot more when I include one-to-ones because time, I can never get a refund on time. It is something I'll never get back this side of eternity. So, and I highly recommend if you're going to include one-to-ones, that's great if you want to, but you need to charge a whole lot more because it's also, you're going to cap out at some point. If you bring on too many clients, you won't be able to conduct all those one-to-ones. Then you have the option of, do I hire a coach as a contractor, which will require more time and more costs, or do I just offer a lower version, like lower cost version, same training, and maybe they still get to be part of the community, monthly meetups, but that's it. It's not taking more time out of your day. Either way, a course gives you the elements that allows you to scale unbelievably fast. Now, I want to give you a warning. I gave you 10 proofs. I want to give you a warning. Let's say you get this idea. You're like, I'm going to go use AI to collect a bunch of information on a specific topic that I'm convinced people will pay a lot of money for and turn that into a course and try to sell it. And I have no doubt there are people doing this right now. If you choose this path, you need to understand something. There's an almost indescribable, highly invisible element that draws people to buy one course over another. And that is because when you sell your course, you're not just selling knowledge, you are selling experience. AI cannot give you experience, but life will. But it goes one step further, one step deeper. If your experience comes from a heart surrendered to God, it is something even more. It is wisdom. Like, why did Queen Sheba, this super famous, wealthy, powerful queen, visit King Solomon and pay him handsomely in lavish gifts of gold and spices and precious stones? Did she seek him out for knowledge? She did not. Did she seek him out for experience? Not at all. She sought him for wisdom. In fact, she was so overwhelmed with his wisdom, she was left speechless, the scriptures tell us. So don't take this knowledge and bend it, the knowledge I'm sharing with you, and bend it to the carnal desire of just trying to make a bunch of money with no interest in actually helping people. It might make you a few bucks here and there, but foolishness will catch up with you. Solomon wrote this in Proverbs 13:18. He says, whoever ignores instruction comes to poverty and shame. When you gain knowledge through life experience from a heart, surrendering to God Almighty, you offer so much more than a course. You offer wisdom, and that will last forever.